When NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte stood before reporters in London last week, his words marked a seismic shift in how the West views Russia's war machine. According to him, Vladimir Putin's Russia is running out of money, troops, and ideas. This wasn't just geopolitical optimism. It was a stark assessment of the slow, steady decline in Russia's military and geopolitical power. At the start of the war, Russia had the manpower, the resources, and the industrial capacity to seemingly plow through Ukraine. Even when those initial strategies failed, Russia was still widely considered the likely winner of a war of attrition. But now, NATO isn't so sure. Battlefield reports are streaming in, detailing increasingly desperate measures from Russia, suggesting the war in Ukraine is slowly devouring the country from within. The most compelling evidence for this shift comes from pure battlefield wins that Ukraine has managed to secure over the past few months. A key example is the city of Pokrovsk. For yet another year, Russian forces failed to capture it. They were pushed back several miles from the city's boundaries, right into the range of punishing artillery fire. This key logistical hub in the eastern Donbass, which Moscow had spent months trying to capture in a bloody assault, has become a symbol of Russia's summer of failure. In mid-September 2025, a startling report emerged from the Telegraph. It stated that Russian units composed of soldiers infected with HIV, hepatitis, and other serious diseases had been spotted around Pokrovsk. Let that sink in. Putin's military has formed units of soldiers with potentially deadly diseases and sent them into battle. These soldiers wear special armbands to identify their illnesses, in a desperate attempt to create what has been called moral and psychological pressure on Ukrainian defenders. Dmytro Zhemilo, from the Ukrainian Security and Cooperation Center, confirmed these units are actively fighting in the hottest spots around Pokrovsk. If this is what Moscow is resorting to just to maintain its operational tempo, then the military is, both literally and figuratively, running on empty. The situation around Pokrovsk tells the broader story of Russia's entire summer offensive. Since late August, an estimated 16,000 Russian soldiers have been killed or wounded in the area around the city alone. Despite throwing massive forces at Pokrovsk, Russian gains have been minimal and don't signal any imminent collapse of Ukrainian defenses. Even when small Russian infantry units, totaling around 200 soldiers, managed to slip past defensive lines and get inside the city, Ukrainian forces held their ground, inflicting significant losses. Meanwhile, Ukraine has proven it isn't just playing defense. Throughout August, reports streamed in of villages being liberated from Russian control. Then, in October, Ukraine struck back hard. The 141st Mechanized Brigade carried out a series of successful assaults across the region. In total, it's estimated that Ukraine has retaken control of roughly 24 villages. While the territorial gains themselves might not seem huge on a map, the principle is what matters. Ukraine has shown it will not abandon this vital city and that it still has a few tricks up its sleeve to punish reckless Russian offensives. While Pokrovsk accounts for a huge part of Russia's current troubles, with some reports suggesting around 40% of all fighting is happening there, the true source of Russia's problems lies far away from Ukraine itself. It could be argued that these failures were inevitable, stemming from a military doctrine that is fundamentally unsuitable for modern warfare, and completely at odds with today's interconnected geopolitical and economic world. The problem, at its core, begins with how Russia thinks about war itself. Its entire approach, from strategy to logistics, seems built for a bygone era, and it's now facing the harsh consequences on the modern battlefield. The cracks that were once hidden are now gaping wounds, and the entire world is watching as Russia's war machine sputters. Thanks for watching. If you found this analysis insightful, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more updates on global events. We'll see you next time.